Hey guys, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode we are going to go digging through my junk piles and seeing if we can cobble together enough parts to maybe get this Stihl 020 AV fixed up. I went online there after the last video and looked and kind of saw what was online for like spare parts, new parts, remanufactured parts, and the 38mm piston that blew up inside of this thing. It's kind of the way of the dodo bird, but we have some spare parts I'm going to show you, and we'll see if we can get it running today. Welcome to Man Time. In trying to plan for every eventuality, you know, with my saws and being a good, purveyor of equipment, whatever you want to call it, I did have this saw as a backup and a parts saw. No pull string. I may have to switch some things around on the two. And lo and behold, look at what I got here. 38mm replacement piston. Just too little, too late. And this one here is going to come with all of the rings and goodies associated, and if I had to change this sooner, I could have saved the saw. This problem wouldn't be happening. And with dirt bikes, you're supposed to change your rings out after every season, and then change the jug and piston out, change the rings out every season, change the piston out every other season with new rings. So, it's basically my fault this happened, right? I was running this saw knowing that it had an old piston and old rings on it. And it doesn't look like they were stock, but hell, they could have been, Anyways, I've got a new piston, and I've got new rings, and I've got a donor saw that might have a good jug on it. So we are going to dig in here and see what we got. If we can zoom in and take a look at what a good piston looks like. I mean, it is just flawless. Oh no, I didn't see that. Is that bad? I mean, it's below the compression. It's below the compression, but I don't know. Dang it. Well, at this point, I'll... a little disheartening. Oh, God. Yeah. So here's the old one. That's the one with the blown-up piston. I mean, at this point, I'm just going to take some emery cloth and see if I can buff that out. Well, I'm almost completely out of light here, but here's the damage on the piston that was in that parts saw cylinder, and it's pretty significant. Alright, so what I've decided to do here is use the cylinder that I found on the parts saw. I've gone in here and just really scrubbed around this little line underneath the exhaust port. Again, that's not going to affect our compression, and hopefully it doesn't destroy our new piston. I'm going to be using this from Little Red Barn, 38mm. Basically the only person selling the replacement piston. And I'm going to be using the original case that the piston failed on. The other case is, let's see here. What's wrong with this case? I mean, everything's about the same on this case. I mean, it might not be in any better or worse shape, but again, we're keeping that one for spare parts, one of them anyway. And I like the original case this one has here, so we'll get the new piston on here, get the jug on here, get it reassembled, and see how it does. Point, the most difficult thing left to do is keep these rings aligned. As all this stuff's going together. And, oh shoot, we don't want to forget, we have to put our carburetor on before we can do any of this. Before we do any of this, we are going to put some Loctite on these low and high adjustments here. And I forgot our gasket. Yeah, good thing I test fit here. I've got a little trimming I need to do on the gasket here. It's hitting on this corner. Alright, now we've got our gasket on there. We know that exhaust side is going to be pointed this way from the arrow. We're going to point that little deal there toward us as we're going in, keeping an eye on it. There it goes. On this side here. Aha. Got it. Okay. Let's see. Exhaust side. Go in this way. See if we can get our screws aligned. You want to try to align your gasket underneath of there and get it to slip through. And you can even bring it out a little bit, align that screw with the gasket like that. Same on this side, get it out a little bit, get it aligned in the gasket, and then see if you can start it that way. And they don't have to be super torqued. And I would guess I'm putting maybe 20 foot-pounds, maybe 30. See here, we've got our throttle linkage hooked up to the carb here. That's kind of a tedious task to get that aligned just right and get this down and get it pushed over and get something in there to jam it in. Next part of this is going to be putting a little bit of oil right there and on the inside of your gas tank and pull cord case here, and watching those as they come to align here. There's really no easy way to get this in there. It's going to kind of self-align a little bit, and at some point you're just going to have to persuade it in. There, I think we got it. There we go. Everything lined up, back together. Now we've got all of our Allen head screws going in all over the place here. So we are back to our compression check, and now we have a new piston No blood shed on this rebuild, so that's good. Alright. And I guess we're just supposed to do 3 quick pulls. Alright, now we're at 100. And I've seen some saws that go up to like 150. I don't think this is one of those type of saws. Yeah, just over 100. With a couple more pulls, that should be plenty of compression for this saw. Okay, finally, let's see, let's put a little Loctite on those. You don't want to tighten those too tight. And then on these exhaust bolts for sure. Oh, shoot. Starting over with that one. Now I know there's probably some of you screaming out there, you know, while you're in there, why don't you increase the horsepower a little bit? Well, you saw there, with virtually no modifications over stock, we blew out that piston ring, so what do you think modifications are going to do? They're just going to decrease the life even further. Which I care more about longevity than raw power. Because longevity is going to mean we've got a good reliable saw for years and years. And maximum power is just going to give us, you know, the quickest cut. But again, it's going to hurt the longevity of the saw. It's just like running, you know, a tuner on your car and having it, you know, melt down the engine prematurely, which can and does happen. Yeah, I've got a buddy that has a 900 horsepower Shelby Cobra Mustang with the supercharger, and he's done a bunch of stuff to it. Of course, he's a ASE certified mechanic, and he put on a new tune or new injectors or something and pumped them up and didn't have it timed right and or the amount of fluid correct, and melted one of his pistons down. And so I actually helped him after he changed out all the pistons and put the motor back together, put in a different torque converter and switched it over to an automatic transmission, and spent, you know, I don't know, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 on all that stuff. Made sure to get it tuned properly after that, but let's see how it does here. So we got that new piston in there. We're reading over 100, maybe 110 psi. Should be plenty. Got some fresh gas in there. We're a turn and a half out on high and low jets, and just opening up the butterfly a little bit with the idle control screw. There you go. Alright, let's see how she runs here. And this one is going to be super important that you go through that heat cycle process, new piston, all that stuff. So, see how it goes. Oh boy, it almost wanted to start right there. I think we only fixed a symptom of the problem here, because as I was trying to get this thing to run, it started idling just to the moon, right? The RPM, and what I did there was I opened up the low jet. I mean, I just cranked it like 3 turns out. And it just continued to idle higher and higher. So, that is going to lead me to believe there is something not working right in the carb. Now, I've rebuilt this carb. This is actually nice and pliable, still nice and rubbery. I don't think that's going to be my issue. Now if we look at our seat here, oh, that's definitely going to be our problem. Our needle was sticking. Our needle wasn't opening up, so it was starving for gas. Now why wouldn't our needle open up? Good question. Went into my little box of goodies here, and I found a carb kit that looks like it ought to work. Oh yeah, I did want to say one more thing. If you're constantly having to go back and adjust your carb to get it to run right, and it starts running right in one setting and then not in another setting, I would go in there and check your carburetor. Check that finger. Make sure your valve is operating correctly. Or catastrophic things can happen, right? Boy, this turned into a full day's event, didn't it? Well, the first time I tried to start this thing, it almost wanted to start without choke, without anything. I'm a turn and a half out on both high and low, and I'm right where it's just cracking that butterfly open. Oh man, not again. Please work this time. was just running just fine, now it's not. Right as the rain starts. So that's going to do it for today on Man Time, guys. We got this little saw running just in time for it to start raining. Thanks for joining me today on Man Time, guys. Get out there. Have you some Man Time, too.